Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the SUGO-FEST exclusives that are out on OPTC Global as of February the 23rd, 2021. So, this is the second rendition of my SUGO-FEST tier list for 2021. Now, I will leave a little card and in the description below my January 21 tier list, as not much has changed, but I have done a few tweaks that we are going to go through in this video today. But before we begin, I do want to make note that this is all my personal opinion. None of this is like be all or end all or the greatest unit in the game, you know, like it's all my opinion on the characters that I've used in the last sort of over 3 years playing the game, and sort of like utilizing my knowledge to help you guys get an understanding of what characters you want to be looking for and what characters you want to be maxing to sort of bolster your account. So before we begin, there are a few components that I do like to use when ranking units. Obviously, power is big, the speed and their clear rate, as well as their playability. For me, playability is the last one. Like, do you want to use that unit? Do you like using that unit? Is that unit very, very good in lots of situations? Are they even boosted by captain ability, but you still bring them anyway because they've just got such a crazy special? Obviously, power is very, very good. And speed has got to do with just how fast they can clear content. For me, like completion is sort of put to the side, I guess, because like every character ideally can beat particular content as long as they've got the right supports, right? So like, shout out to my homie Krubs. We were actually doing some like races last night where we were utilizing old legends, but the fact is like we could still chuck on like stupidly strong subs because we were playing in 2021, right? So that also comes into account. I do like to separate my tier list between subs and captains. Obviously, being an S tier captain is better than being an S tier sub, but being an S tier sub doesn't necessarily mean that you are better than an A tier captain. They're kind of on par, but that's where playability comes into play, and that's why you'll see some characters so high up on this tier list. So before we jump into the tier list though, I do want to give a huge shout out to OPTC tier list maker. If you guys want to create your own tier list, the link will be in the description. And also, huge shout out to the database for the images provided as well. So, huge shout out to them. Again, link in the description below if you guys want to check them out. And if you do enjoy this video, make sure to go down there and hit that like button as well. And if you are new to the channel, and if you're not new to the channel, consider becoming a subscriber today, because why not, right? So, let's hop into the tier list now, and let's have a look at the changes that I do want to make to this tier list before we continue. So I have sort of put some characters to the side that I do want to change. So the first big thing that I do want to change is Sugar. Sugar to me is very, very strong. But as an S tier captain, I don't know if she's just there. Now I am going to leave her there, but I did want to sort of raise this point in the sense of I think moving forward, she might actually move down. Now, the big upside to her, obviously, her bear mechanic is very, very good. And I don't think there are many other sort of quick super typings that are... Well, there definitely is no other quick super typings that are better than her. But she is sort of coming to the cusp of her reign. And I don't know if she's going to stay in S tier for very, very long. But I do kind of want to move her down. But the problem is I think she's way better than all these A tier captains. And as a S tier sub, like she's not really used as a sub. You can definitely use her as a sub, and if she does move anywhere, that's where she'll go. The next thing I do want to change is Pudding. I do want to put Pudding down into A tier sub, mainly because of her playability. She's very, very good, but there are other Puddings in the game that I would prefer to use, namely the Rare Recruit Pudding. Also, I just don't use her that much, and that's where my big title of playability comes in, as I don't tend to use this character very often as a sub, even though she's very, very good and she does a lot of stuff that a lot of other units don't. Next thing I do want to change as well is I do want to bring Jinbei up to back into S tier. I totally forgot about Jinbei being immune to special rewind, and just because of that, I do want to move him up into S tier sub, as it is very, very good. I have done a few little changes as well with supports as well. I have moved Frankie up into the support tier. I have moved Lucci up into the support tier, as they have very, very good supports as well. And I have changed the bottom tier to can see play. Not sees play, can see play, because at the end of the day, like every character sort of sees play if you want them to, but this sort of section here is for characters that like still have good special and stuff, but have just sort of been replaced by rare recruits and whatnot. I have sort of removed fodder characters that you're just never going to use. But like, for example, like V3 Rayleigh was very, very good for the Annual Challenge, but you didn't need him. Like, you could use him. So, like, you could see play. Now, for the big changes, before we get into the 3 new Sugos that have released on OPTC Global since I have done this tier list, I would like to move Odin down as well, but you just can't deny, like, how good of a captain ability Odin does actually have. So I'm going to leave him there as he is just very, very good. But compared to any of these other characters on the list, Odin and Sugar are like the 2 that I would like consider to move down. But other than that, the S tier captains look pretty good. But Garp, 6+ Garp. I actually forgot about 6+ Garp in my last tier list. I think I accidentally deleted him from the list, but he's definitely an S tier sub. Special bind removal, 3.25 chain lock, 30% HP cut. He's very, very good on a low turn cooldown. He has a very, very good support as well. So that's why he's going to find his way into S tier sub, because whenever you're not using him on the team, if you can find a place to put him on as a support on Kobe, Helmeppo, or Kuzen, he is very, very good at removing 3 turns of special bind and insanely good support ability. I did put Deadbeard back up into A captain. I mainly use him in supports, but you can't deny how good he is as a captain. As he is a up to a 4.5 times attack booster for Powerhouse and Strikers. As I mentioned in the last tier list, though, he does have to compete with Kaido, which kind of sucks. But I mean, if there are no normal attacks only, you do run Powerhouse. Deadbeard or Quickbeard is a very, very good option. Next, Smoker. I had S Smoker in S A tier sub. I'm going to bump him up into A tier captain. I have truly underestimated how good Smoker actually is. I think he just kind of gets overshadowed a lot by by Sugar. But in saying that, like, I had him as like one of the worst super typings with Hawkins and Sabo. But after playing with Hawkins, like, he is way better than Hawkins. Way better than Hawkins. And, like, I feel like you could probably make a point for Sabo being a little bit better than Hawkins, as his captain ability is actually pretty good if you're running mono strength. But Hawkins, man, like, oh, yuck. The next character I want to move up is the Cat Dog. Cat Dog I want to put into an A tier sub. They have a very, very good switch ability. So I think that they should be put up into A tier sub, as they can definitely see more than just play. Like, they can be very, very handy for hard pieces of content. Basically just for paralysis removal with their switch ability is very, very good. So I do want to move them up into A tier sub. The next unit I had was Chopper. I had him in Quality of Life, obviously because of his cotton candy drops, but I totally forgot how good he was as a sub. So he's going straight up into S tier sub. He basically removes 5 turns of every debuff you have to worry about. He has healing. He has very good classes. He's exceptional. He's an excellent sub, and more people should use him. Next, we have Komurasaki, one of the most underrated legends in the game. It's definitely going to my A tier sub. I've been doing a lot of like chatter with a lot of people about like underrated legends, and these 2 legends I'm about to talk about are the 2 that I'm going to mention. So Komurasaki being a 2 times attack and orb booster, 2 different colors, very, very strong. She works excellently with Sugar, to be honest. So she's got to move up into A tier sub, as she's very, very good. The next character I had was Ace. Now, normally I use Ace, or Halloween Ace I should say, as a support, as he's the 3-turn bind removal. Very similar to why I had Deadbeard here as well. But we do need to acknowledge like how good they are as captains, and I actually really want to move him up into A tier captain. Halloween Ace, in my opinion, is actually the most underrated legend in the game. The fact that he removes 10 turns of special bind and special reverse is way too underrated, but the downside to him, he only boosts fighter and shooters, which kind of the worst classes in the game. Well, fighter's probably like on the cusp of around the middle, but shooters definitely down the bottom. Them and driven just need a lot of help, and if you guys have seen when I come out in Japan, they're starting to get that help, which is good to see. You know, it's nice to see. Alright, so let's have a look down here. Now, obviously, we are not going to talk about any of these other units, as Anniversary for us is in like 3 days. So we'll get to those characters on the next tier list. And then I'm just going to leave these guys here so I don't have to worry about recreating this tier list. Unfortunately, we still don't have 6+ Beige, Blackbeard, Zoro, or Sanji. So that's also something to note as well. But we do have these 3 units here. We do have Shanks, Mihawk, and Law. So let's start with Law. I think Law's probably the best out of the 3. His captain ability is very, very good. They're all in super typings. His special's amazing, and he's just an exceptional unit. Now, the downside to Law, very similar to the downside to Kaido, is normal attacks only. Normal attacks only can make it very, very hard for Law to do what he wants to do, where he takes damage and then throws it back depending on how much damage you take. So for that reason, I'm going to put him up here in A tier captain. As I mentioned, I do think he's the best of the three, but in saying that, he can just get cucked way too easily, like way too easily. His special though, very, very good. Two turns of an orb boost for the in class, so he does help his team out a lot. He does stop you from dying. He's a law unit, so you can use Corro zones on him. He is very, very good, and there's just no denying what Halloween Law actually can do. And for that reason, he's definitely going up into the A tier captain. The next unit that came out on OPTC Global is Halloween Mihawk. So they came out at the same time, and for that reason, I'm going to put him up. Oh, also, sorry. Law removes Despair for 10 turns too. That's also something that needs to be noted. Very similar to this Halloween Ace. Utility and Captains is amazing. Now, talking about Utility and Captains, and we're going to talk about Mihawk. He's also going to the A tier Captain. It's very hard to actually split Mihawk and Law, to be honest. Like, Law, in my opinion, has a more usable Captain ability when there are no normal attacks only. But Mihawk, honestly, when there is no normal attacks only, he is the best in... When there is normal attacks only, he is the best in Captain in the game. He's so damn strong that he can output so much damage. His super typing is incredible. Basically just kills like a single boss. That 1,000 times tap timing is monstrous. Absolutely monstrous. And then if you are versing Psy content, he can just devour whatever's in front of him. He has 10 turns of paralysis removal built into his Captain ability, which is very, very strong. He is a very high, up to a 5 times attack booster for int units, as well as giving HP. He's the attack booster for his team. His super typing gives a full board of orbs. Unfortunately, it's not through blocks, but it is what it is. So splitting these two up is actually fairly tricky. I can't split them up too much. Besides that, when there is normal attacks only, when there is no normal attacks only, you want to be using Law. And when there isn't normal attacks, normal attacks only, God, I'm jumbling words, you want to be using Mihawk. So they're both very good. They both work amazingly together, like absolutely exceptionally together. And for that reason, they're both going to go into AT Captain. Honestly, when there's no normal attacks only, like Kaido and Law, easily S tier captains. But the fact that they do have that playability that comes into account of if there are no normal attacks only, it's very hard for them to be used compared to these other legends that are sitting up here in the S tier captains. Like these guys here, like to be honest, you always want to run V3 Law over this Law. Like unfortunately, it's just how it is. But when there are no normal attacks only and you want to build an int team, Halloween Law is very, very good as well. So that's that. Basically, that's all I have to say about the two leaders. They work great as subs too. They both have very, very good supports as well. So you could definitely talk about that in terms of putting them down here as well. But they're captain at the moment. Like I feel like that's where they'll end up as the power creep continues in the game. They'll end up down there. Mihawk reduces damage reduction by 2 turns, I'm pretty sure, when you use the character special. And then Law is a straight orb booster to int units if you use an int character uses a special. So you guys know how powerful that is with stuff like with Smoker's support as well. Whoever he is. This Smoker support is very, very good as well. Now, the downside to this sort of tier list though, like, is that I feel like I've got to find another another spot for characters. Like, Jumanji, for example, is very, very good. Deadbeard is very, very good. But in the sense of that is they are nowhere near as good as these characters here. The Halloween Mihawk and Law. But in saying that, they are still very, very good, but I do think I need to try and find a way to sort of separate them, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below to try and sort of segment this list a little bit more, or if I can see if I can put it in order, because, like, obviously in this A tier captain, you definitely want, like, a character like Kaido more than you'd want probably a character like Smoker. But in saying that, in terms of the criteria, they are very similar in terms of power, I guess, when they're used in their best and optimal situations. But yeah, there's that. So the final unit we're going to talk about, unfortunately we only had 3 new additions. Well, not unfortunately, but we had 3 new Sugos. So it's always nice having 3 Sugos, but for the whales out there like myself, it's a little bit rough trying to get your hands on all of them. I was fortunate enough to get my hands on all of them, so I have played with all these units. And I actually got my hands on Hawkins as well. So I do have every legend in the game. So I can sort of comment on how they all play. I have played with them all to sort of extensive lengths. And yeah, Hawkins definitely needs to stay in Kenzie play if you really want to. Because, like, honestly, like, he shouldn't be on the list. Like, I would rather run, like, 6+ Judge or even Lace over Hawkins. It's disgusting how... Look, let me not rant about Hawkins. He's good if you hybrid him. Let's leave it at that. So the final unit that we're going to talk about is Halloween Shanks. Halloween Shanks is a hard one for me, to be honest, because as you guys know, I am a huge Shanks fanboy, like a huge Shanks fanboy, but I think I have to slap him up here in A tier sub, which hurts. Honestly, it hurts. This guy right here, I'm actually going to put them together just to sort of chat about them. In some circumstances, and actually like in most circumstances, this Shanks, V2 Shanks, is actually way better than the new Halloween Shanks, to be honest. In most circumstances. On the int team, like, Halloween Shanks is going to be better because you don't need the attack boost because you've got Mihawk. But if you don't have Mihawk and you have Halloween Shanks and V2 Shanks, most of the time you're going to be running this this V2 Shanks. Now, the big reason for that is Halloween Shanks is a color affinity booster to cerebrals and slashes. Now, that is actually really, really good, and I'm actually more happy that they've done that than a 2x color affinity to int, because these guys are cerebrals and slashes themselves. Now, the big reason I do like that is because you can use them with these two units right here. So, Roger and Odin, being slashes, being the slashes that they are, makes that slasher team just way, way better. The 2x color affinity that Shanks can provide for 3 turns, might I add, is very, very good. Now, I would actually argue that he is the best int super typing in the game in terms of captain. He has a very, very good super typing where he changes block orbs into int or into matching orbs. And then he also sets the defense to 0 for 3 turns. And then the downside to using him is very similar to doing something like with Hawkins, is you don't really ever want to be using 2 of him as captain. Now, with Mihawk and Law, you can definitely get away with utilizing 2 of these guys as captains, or even hybriding them up. Now, Shanks does work very well as a hybrid with these 2, but in terms of my power and criteria tier list, we can't sort of talk about the characters hybrided up with another unit, because, like, let's be real, like, you could then argue that, like, well, V1 Akane is really good because you can pair him up with Snake Man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I would love to have him in captain because of the things he can do. And I do think he's a better captain than Mihawk and Law. But for the perfect situation, he's definitely not. And where you're most likely going to be using Shanks is as a sub. Now, he's definitely not an S tier sub purely because he's a color affinity booster. And he does a chain boost as well if you have a majority int team. If he had, like, say the color affinity was his super typing, that would kind of be a bit better, I think, for this unit. And then had the defense to 0 on his special instead. Oh, sorry, not the color affinity, the chain boost. Say he had like a chain boost and then he rotated like all orbs or block orbs into matching. That would just make him heaps better in my opinion. That way you could just use, he would definitely sit in S tier sub then. 100% he would sit in S tier sub then. But he can still be used as a captain, 100%. Because you can hybrid him up with this guy here. He has that benefit of being hybrided with Roger that these 2 units don't have. But at the same time, like I mentioned, we're not going to talk about what can be done. It's about, like, what's normally done. So Shanks will most likely see play as a sub for Roger and for Odin. But in saying that, there are other subs that can kind of do what he does. And probably do what he does, but better. But I love this unit. He's one of my favorite units to run, but I got to take my bias out of it, and I need to sit him where he truly belongs. So, he's probably the best in the A tier sub by, like, a long shot. But at the same time, like, would I say he's probably the same as Smoker, though. So, like, I don't know. Maybe we do put him in A tier captain. Maybe I will put him in A tier captain because, like, I'm looking, like, he's just as strong as Smoker. But the downside is, like, he goes in A tier sub. Because Smoker, you can make the argument that you can run both of them as captain, and you can actually get the benefit of using both of them as captains. All of the A tier captains, all the S tier captains are all looking to be run like dual, like the same unit, no hybriding situations, and just running two Shanks as captain is just, it's not an ideal situation. So I think A tier sub is probably the perfect spot for him there. So there you guys go. That is my tier list for February 2021. Can we do that? Because, like, yeah, we'll do it like, we'll make it look like that. Just because anything under mainly support of quality of life is just like characters. If you really want to use them, you can. Like all these units down here. Like, if you want to use them, you can. But, like, there's just rare recruits that sort of just do what they do, but better. But I still want to give them the sort of love that they deserve, as like I have used them within the last 12 months. Like there's definitely been a time that I've used them. Maybe besides the actual slashes, these characters here, their time's probably up. And obviously when Capone gets his Super Evolution, we'll be talking about him a little bit more as well. But that's gonna wrap up my tier list for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to head down there and smash that like button for me. And if you are new to the channel, or you just like to stop by and you haven't already, consider going down there and smashing that subscribe button for me as well. We're so close to 2K subs, guys, and I would really appreciate all that love and support. And if you guys already are bloody legends that are subscribers and want to support your boy even further, we do have memberships, so consider joining today. But guys, on top of all that, most importantly, please enjoy the rest of your day. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Lights!